Failure is an uncomfortable word, but in the world of startups, it is a reality that every founder must confront. The statistics are stark. Roughly 90% of startups fail, with the majority shutting down within the first 3 years. This isn't meant to discourage, it's meant to ground us in truth. The path of entrepreneurship is not defined by endless success, but by a series of experiments, some of which succeed and many of which don't. By studying failure, we don't wallow in negativity, we extract lessons. Each failed startup is a case study that highlights what went wrong so future founders can avoid repeating the same mistakes. Hundreds of postmortems have been analyzed by CB Insights to uncover the top reasons companies collapse. And what emerges is not random chaos, but recognizable patterns. Understanding these patterns is like adding armor to your entrepreneurial journey. It doesn't guarantee success, but it dramatically increases your chances of avoiding preventable mistakes. The first question to answer is why we should study failures in the first place. The answer is simple. Failure is the most common outcome in startups. If 90% of startups fail, then ignoring failure would be like ignoring gravity. Most failures occur in the earliest years when companies are still trying to establish product market fit and prove their business model. These are the fragile years where mistakes compound quickly and resources run out fast. Analyzing failure provides three benefits. First, it saves time. You learn from others' mistakes instead of repeating them. Second, it saves money. Burn rates and mismanaged resources are reduced when you know the traps to avoid. Third, it saves emotional energy. Entrepreneurship is already a taxing journey. Avoiding avoidable mistakes prevents unnecessary stress and conflict. CB Insights have reviewed hundreds of postmortems and the patterns are clear. Startups tend to fail for predictable reasons. The more we internalize these lessons, the more prepared we are to navigate our own ventures. So, what are the big killers? The data highlights 10 major culprits. The number one cause, cited in about 42% of cases, is no market need. This is the classic mistake of building something nobody wants. Founders become enamored with an idea without testing whether customers truly care about the problem being solved. The second, affecting 29% of failed startups, is running out of cash, poor financial planning, overspending, and lack of disciplined runway management cause companies to suffocate before achieving critical milestones. Third, in 23% of failures, is the wrong team. Misaligned skills, poor communication, or lack of execution speed doom even good ideas. Fourth, at 19%, is being outcompeted. Competitors move faster, execute better, or simply have more resources to capture the market. Fifth, at 18%, are pricing and cost issues. Companies with unsustainable unit economics cannot scale profitably no matter how much demand exists. The remaining five include poor business models, weak marketing, ignoring customer needs, product mistiming, and lack of focus. The key insight here is that failure is rarely caused by just one factor. It is usually a combination. But the biggest killers consistently involve market need, cash, and team dynamics. Two of the most lethal startup killers are lack of market need and poor cash management. Together, they create a deadly combination. On the market need side, many founders misjudge the intensity of the problem they are solving. Customers may acknowledge the issue, but not care enough to pay for a solution. Or the problem is too infrequent to warrant dedicated products. Building solutions for non-urgent problems results in beautiful products that nobody buys. On the cash flow side, startups often burn capital without discipline. They overspend on marketing before achieving product market fit, or they scale operations without sufficient revenue. Fundraising failures compound the problem, leaving companies unable to bridge gaps. The key lesson is clear. Validate demand early with customer interviews, prototypes, and pre orders. Then monitor cash like a hawk. Cash is oxygen for startups. Without it, even great ideas suffocate. Founders who ignore these fundamentals often find themselves with a product nobody wants and no cash left to pivot. That is the fatal combination. The third and fourth killers, team issues and competitive pressure, are equally devastating. On the teen side, failure often stems from weak technical or business skills, misaligned visions, or poor communication. Startups demand relentless execution at speed. A team that lacks trust, coordination, or complementary skills cannot deliver. Leadership failures, unresolved conflicts, and lack of accountability amplify the problem. On the competition side, startups face relentless external pressure. Competitors with deeper pockets can outspend on marketing. Faster product development cycles allow rivals to launch features sooner. Without defensible moats like network effects, unique IP, or strong brand equity, startups risk being displaced. Timing also matters. Entering too early or too late gives competitors the upper hand. The overarching insight is this: ideas matter, but execution and speed matter more. A brilliant idea with a weak team loses to a strong team with an adequate idea. Similarly, lacking competitive differentiation makes you vulnerable, no matter how good your product is. Execution speed and team quality are often the greatest moats a startup can build. Beyond the big killers, several secondary factors contribute to startup collapse. Pricing mistakes, either setting prices too high, scaring off adoption, or too low, undermining profitability, create unsustainable economics. Business model gaps often appear when companies focus solely on user growth without clear revenue models. Free users don't pay the bills, and without monetization, scaling leads only to bigger losses. Marketing weaknesses are another silent killer. Even with a great product, if customers never hear about it, adoption stalls. Poor go to market strategies and underinvestment in distribution channels limit reach. Timing mismatches round out the supporting cast. Launching too early, before the market is ready, burns resources educating customers. Launching too late means competitors dominate before you enter. The critical insight is that success requires getting multiple fundamentals right simultaneously. Solving the problem, pricing correctly, marketing effectively, and timing wisely all need to align. Neglect one, and the others can't compensate. The lessons from startup failures are sobering but invaluable. Most companies don't collapse because of mysterious, unpredictable forces. They fail because of identifiable, avoidable mistakes. The top killers are no market need, running out of cash, wrong teams, competitive pressure, and pricing issues. Together, these account for the majority of startup deaths. Add in business model weaknesses, poor marketing, and timing mismatches, and you see a clear picture. Success is fragile and requires multiple fundamentals to align. The key takeaways are straightforward. Validate customer demand before building. Manage cash with discipline, treating it as oxygen. Build strong, aligned teams that can execute at speed. Develop defensible moats to withstand competition. Price thoughtfully. Design viable business models. Invest in marketing and get timing right. The stories of failure should not discourage founders, they should empower them. Each postmortem is a roadmap of pitfalls to avoid. By studying failure, we save time, money, and energy, and we give ourselves a better chance of building companies that endure. The final message is this: startups are hard, but they are not random. Success isn't guaranteed, but by learning from the failures of others, you can tilt the odds in your favor. Failure teaches, the smart founder listens.